Hey guys, and welcome to my third proper progress report. This time I'm going to be going over a few things such as what is probably going to be the final gunroom improvements, as well as a new room I've called the Grotto. Also, I've been tweaking with some animations for the kitchen, and lastly I'll be showing the first of 3 vent systems. Okay, so as per usual I'll show the gunroom first. Rather than have lockers, I decided to build gun racks myself and decorate them with Half-Life 2 weapons. The weapon on the gun racks correspond with the weapons that spawn, so where there's shotguns, there will be Half-Life 2 shotguns. See? There are still only 2 things I want to add, and that's a button that can open gunroom door and keep it open, so zombie days can be played. Also, I want to make a brush that has a custom texture that holds these map-specific rules that I'm going to invent, and they should be enforced by admins. It'll basically lock down gunroom for the first 60 seconds of the first round, so people can have their free day and CTs can read up on the rules. Welcome to the 5th room in my map. I call it the Grotto, and this room basically sets the theme for the map. The idea is that the jail is underground or on the side of a mountain, and this cavern holds fresh water that has made it in. I've also placed the bathrooms here, so it's a good place to put them. I made men's and women's bathrooms, just like with lockdown, mostly because I wanted to make sure I wasn't wasting space. And I guess I wanted to add more potential for rebelling, like, say, a vent entrance. In order to make sure I didn't waste any space on the outside of the bathrooms, I made these wooden structures. This one, for instance, holds Warden's office, which I've given an incentive to come here because there are weapons that are hidden, and also it acts as a great vantage point to view the T's. Other than that, the Grotto was essentially the pool for my map. Originally I was just going to make it a pool with a tile floor and a roof. However, I wanted to add some sort of mountain in which the water slide went through. Slowly but surely, I decided to turn the entire room into more of a cavern than a pool room. Eventually, I decided to make it a grotto that had been dug into and made for leisure. It comes with 3 diving boards, which allows for a multitude of diving-orientated games. While I doubt the lower diving board will get used much, I've made it so that the middle one has a greater chance of being used thanks to strafe-orientated games. The highest one allows for games that strafe more to the left, such as reaching the light, hanging over the water, and getting on top of the Warden's office. And finally, I wanted to make something that has never been made in Jailbreak before. I'm talking, of course, about the water slide. While there are still some bumps to weed out of the slide, I've confirmed through testing that it is impossible to get stuck in the water slide. You can, however, at one stage stay on one spot by holding backwards, but for those who do this, you can just be shot through the glass. I will be returning to work on pool to smooth out my displacements and retexture the water slide. Thanks to the completion of Grotto and Kitchen, I've been able to make my first system of vents. My first set of vents are actually a sewer system, with water that does damage. The idea is that standing in your fellow inmate's feces is enough to kill you and tear at your armor. The sewers are mostly dark except for some maintenance slides in areas that can be crossed over. In this long system of tunnels, where you can get easily lost if not careful, there are 4 weapons hidden. Of course, I've marked the weapons locations with some, shall we say, props, and one of the weapons is in plain sight. Originally I was going to penalize players for going the wrong way, but I decided this was too unfair on people who were exploring the map for the first time, so rather I added reasons to go the wrong way. To the 3 of the hidden weapons you have to get your feet wet and your skin burned off by the result of what they were serving in the food hall. There are 2 exits to the sewers. These exits will also help players familiarize themselves with where they are also entrances. While they can be exited just by hitting them, their actual method of opening is far more complex. While easy to break, both vents have been balanced to ensure that they are fair ways to get to them. The other sets of vents can only be created when I finish climbing room and the disco. In the kitchen now, I've put animated turrets that pop out when people enter the room, and they go back in when everyone leaves the room. It's just something I decided to add, mostly to tweak around with animation. Okay, so as for what to expect next, I'm going to do a disco, the climb room, and more vents that connect them, and I'll obviously make more detail on the map. Thanks for watching.